Hey there, comic book fans. Here's another edition of Not on the Pole, and this is for the week of November 2nd, 2011. First off, once again, I'm going to remind you, spoilers here. I may talk about some of these comics in detail. Check the hashtags down below. And if you haven't read these books yet and are wanting to read these books and not have anything spoiled for you, read the books first before you watch this. Okay? All right. Okay, first up we're going to talk about Batwing number 3. I'm still really enjoying this comic. It's interesting. In this issue, we start to delve into child soldiers and some back history for David, our main character, Batwing. It looks like him and his brother were child soldiers at one point. So I think that's really interesting. This isn't a way I exactly expected them to be talking about the child soldiers in Africa. If he was a child soldier, and from this thing it sounds like he was a serious badass. I mean, he would go in and just, obliterate the stuff that he was supposed to go in and obliterate. How did he go from that to then becoming at some point a policeman / detective, and then being picked by Batman to be supported by Batman for the Batman Incorporated stuff? That'd be really interesting if they delve into that story more. I'm sure we're going to get more of it at some point, but how did he make that leap? Because I just can't imagine that you're going to come out of all of that being well adjusted enough to be a policeman, and be a policeman who walks the higher road, which it sounds like David wants to do most of the time. So that part will be really interesting. This issue is pretty, it's not very dense. I mean, it tells some interesting story. I guess I'll use the word, it's very decompressed. I'm getting tired of hearing compressed and decompressed when it comes to describing and talking about the books, but for right now, for lack of a better word, I guess that's what I'll use. That doesn't necessarily hurt the comic, but it's a relatively quick read. There's a lot of fight scene in it, him dealing with Massacre. There's some hints in there, I don't know, some people are guessing as to who Massacre is. Be curious to see if that's the case. We deal more with Thunderfall. He's pretty cool. There's some great scenes in there. I still really enjoyed the art. I could care less whether or not there's backgrounds or not. The characters themselves have enough interesting, rich flavor to them that I don't need a bunch of background. The background doesn't matter for this style of art, and I'm okay with that. We find out that in some way the kingdom, this African supergroup that was around that stopped a lot of the wars that were going on, must have done something about 60,000 something that they could have done something about. So that'll be all interesting. One thing I was annoyed with about this book, I'm drawing a blank right now on the character's name, but basically I've heard other people refer to him as the African Alfred of Batwings, does regain consciousness and talks more to Batwing, but he doesn't seem too bothered by the fact that he was, drugged, knocked out, and I don't know. I just can't see very many people who are too happy with that. So I don't know. That's the one part that bothered me about the book. I'm still really enjoying it. Next month it will actually be on my pull list, so it won't be part of Not on the Pole. It'll be part of my regular reviews that I'll be doing soon. Like I said, I'm liking the art. And the story is somewhat interesting. I think they're going to continue to address some stuff that I'm interested in. So, I'll stick with it for now. It's not mind-blowing, but I'm enjoying it. It's a decent comic. Okay, next up I'm going to talk about Static Shock number 3. I'm not really excited by this book and whatnot. I'm picking it up right now just to kind of finish out this story, plus my kids seemed relatively interested in it. This issue has Static fighting more a viral Viral's somewhat interesting. He's obviously going to be a bad guy that potentially could be even more of a bad guy because he literally is a living virus, and he discovers that he actually wants to replicate, which is what viruses do, when he's zapped by static. So he kind of ignores his masters and wants to grow. So that's this whole thing there that could come back to haunt that's actually kind of cool and interesting and whatnot. The Slag gang, could keep them or lose them, whatever. There's some confusing things in this book. We still have the Joker type character. We're not 100% sure still whether this is the Joker or if this is that mock Joker or if this is just some other guy trying to look like the Joker or whatnot. But I just can't imagine that it's actually the Joker just because of the way people treat him and whatnot. I mean, I know that during this relaunch, it's it backed up 5 years. Joker doesn't have quite the track record that he did up to that he did before the relaunch, but he's still the Joker. He's still a mass murderer. He's still totally nutcakes and whatnot, and so I just can't imagine him being in New York and taking orders from the villain Piranha and whatnot. And he wipes out some people in this, and he doesn't do it in comedic fashion. He just wipes them out. So I'm still thinking more and more that he is the character that Scott McDaniel, the artist and part writer in this book, that he did the artwork for back in the Detective Comics and Run Detective Comics. But we don't know that for sure. They don't really explain that. So I'm still confused. That character's confusing. I think that's confusing as part of a relaunch, new reader-friendly type thing. If you're reading this guy, is he the Joker or isn't he the Joker? I don't know. To me, that would be confusing if you're not steeped in the history. Heck, I'm steeped in the history, and it's still confusing to me. If somebody out there can explain to me, please. I've been watching some other video blogs where they're talking about Static, and those people are really liking this comic, which is awesome. But if you know, let me know, okay? Because it confuses me. Anyway, the other thing that's still throwing me off is the whole clone doppelganger thing going on with Virgil's two sisters. I mean, it's an interesting story, and it's interesting those two characters dealing with the fact who's the real one and nobody knows who the real one is. One seems pretty sad and bummed out about it, and gosh, aren't I the real one? I'm the real me. I got real feelings, so I must be the real me. The other one seems to be much more aggressive in that, of course, I'm the real one. She's not the real one. You shouldn't believe that one. But I don't know anything. I mean, besides reading this and having watched some of those TV shows, I don't know anything about this character, so that I'm still real confused on that. How did that happen? I can't believe we're not getting explained that. It's just, oh yeah, by the way, here's this clone with no explanation. I mean, were we supposed to have gone into this book knowing prior Static Shock comics? I don't know. And I'm assuming those comics, Milestone, put those comics out quite a long time ago. I'm not sure how we would know that. And I don't consider that part of this new reader friendly. The rest of it, I figure, it feels is very consumable. It's fun. It's a pretty straightforward superhero comic. Anyway, it's actually going to come off my pull list. Well, it's on my pull list. It's going to go onto my pull list. I'm sorry. It's going to go onto my pull list, and I'm going to get a few more issues of it. I'm at least going to finish out this story arc. I don't know beyond that. I'm kind of curious to see who ends up being the new writer that's going to be on it. Since that we know the writer is leaving the book at some point, and then we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it for this week. Only 2. I'm sure I'll be back next week. I've got a few more to pick up there. I didn't see anything else on the shelves when I went and picked up these books that really caught my eye. So we'll see if next week, if anything besides some of the new DC 52 that I have and that are on my pull, see if I pick them up and what else might be out there. Anyway. I appreciate any comments, opinions, or whatever you have on this video. Let me know, one way or the other. And I will see you next week. Bye.